Hey y'all, and welcome back. We're gonna sit in the car and chat for a minute today. I've been trying to find the opportunity to sit down and talk to y'all about how our homeschool year is going and how public school is going for Audrey being back in public school, how that's going. Answer some of the questions that we get pretty frequently, and I've just struggled to find the chance to sit down and do that. And I was by myself today and it was quiet, and I thought, let's sit down and talk about that for a minute. If you're new, I'm Tiffany, and this is our small town life. I am a homesteading, homemaking, homeschooling mama to 4 kiddos, currently pregnant with baby number 5. We would love to have you subscribe, stick around, and be part of our YouTube family. So let's start with how being back in public school is going for Audrey. One of the questions I get a lot is, why do I say back in public school? Is she not homeschooled? So both of my older two have been in public school before. They're very early elementary age years, they were in public school. So that's why I say she is back in public school. Yes, she's been homeschooled for the last several years, but she has gone to public school before. So backing way up, when Audrey first started school, I really wanted to homeschool her, and I was a stay-at-home mom at the time. But Justin felt pretty strongly about her going to public school. He has always kind of said he enjoyed school and enjoyed the activities and the things that came with school and being there with his friends, and he wanted that for the kids. And we do have a very good school system here, and so I didn't push it too much. She started public school, thrived, did great, made good grades, loved going to school. Then Easton started school and he did not love it. He made good grades. He had friends in school. Both of the kids got awards like Good Citizen of the Year. But Easton had a lot of separation anxiety. And it was really, really hard getting him to school in the morning. Without going into too much detail, it was hard. Know that it was hard. And it was to the point where, we had made sure there was nothing else going on. Tried to help him in every way we could. Tried everything we could think of. It was separation anxiety. It was leaving us and going to school. After he got in his classroom, got his day started, he did great. It was just getting to school and getting the day started. But it was so hard that we had talked about homeschooling him and figuring out what was best for him. And about the time we really started talking about that, have I already said this? I don't know, but I was back at work at the time, so it was a little more complicated. But about the time we started talking about that, things started to get better. I don't know if it's because he got a little older. He had a teacher that really helped him and really helped us, but things started to get better. He still did not like school, but it wasn't such a struggle getting him there and getting his day going. So we kind of laid off the talk about that, and then everything shut down. Don't want to say the C word. YouTube doesn't like that sometimes, but we all lived it or still living it. We know what happened, and everything shut down. I was working at a private school. I still had to go a couple hours a day, a couple days a week, but for the most part, I was able to be at home with the kids. And the way the kids' school system did it was if they had over a certain grade point average, they could just take that average and end their schoolwork for the year. And so that's what we did with both of the kids. And then I just started teaching them what I wanted to teach them at home, which is what I'd always wanted to do. And we didn't make the decision right away for them to pull them out of public school. As the next school year approached, they were going to be going back to school, but there were a lot of rules and regulations and the way things that were going to be done that we weren't happy with. We knew it was going to be hard if a kid was sent home for 2 weeks, and both of us, Justin and I, if we're both working, how are we going to make that happen? And I did see a lot of families struggle with that, with both parents working and their kids had to be home, and I knew that's how it was going to be for us too. And just that, among many other things, and always just wanting to homeschool the kids, we prayed about it and decided that Justin and I were both on board with me leaving my job and staying at home and homeschooling the kids. And that's what we did for several years. And I love homeschooling. I love it. I love it even more than I thought I would. I'm not going to lie. There are tough days. There are really tough days, but it's all worth it. I love homeschooling for so many reasons. Being able to tailor my child's education to their needs. Like this year, Huddy, he's moved ahead in math. We've slowed down and really focused on his reading and his phonics. And we were able to do that and kind of do different grade levels because he's at home and we can do that. With Audrey, when she was at home, she's always picking up on things really fast, so we could move through them really fast. Easton is one of my kids who really kind of needs a certain learning style to be able to grasp certain concepts, and we're able to do that for him. A teacher in a classroom setting, it's hard for them. They've got a room full of 25 kids. They have to kind of teach them all the same thing, teach them all the same way. They can incorporate different styles of learning, but it's hard when you've got a classroom full of kids that learn at different speeds and learn at different ways, but you're having to teach them all at the same time. I also am not crazy about, the things kids learn from other kids at school. And the fact that they're there for 8 hours a day, their minds, their opinions are obviously going to be impacted and shaped by their surroundings and by the people that they're around. All those things make me appreciate homeschooling that much more. So why is Audrey back in public school this year? Well, y'all, she loved school, like I said, and when we took her out of school, I don't want to say she was upset about it, but we had told her, this doesn't mean that you won't ever go back. We'll always pray about and seek out what's best for you, what's best for our family, where we feel like God's leading us. Last year, she hinted around wanting to go back, but we didn't do that. This year, being in middle school, she's playing middle school sports for the school, and she could still be homeschooled and do that, but she would have to go to the school for one class a day, and I didn't mind at all taking her up there for one class and going and picking her up. But she kind of started with, I know that'll be hard for you, Mama. And then she eventually was like, I really want to go back to school and try this again. So we prayed about it. I'm not going to say that I wasn't hesitant. I'm not going to say I'm still not hesitant, but it felt like it was right. And so, it felt like God was saying, try it out. Okay. See how it goes. It's going to be okay. And so that's what we did. And it is going really well. She's thriving. Now, she had to go and test to be able to go back into the school system to figure out, where she was and those kinds of things on what she had learned. And she tested going back in as a 9th grader. We didn't do that because her friends that she had were in 7th grade. I didn't really want to put her in a classroom with kids that were that much older than her. Kind of was leaning towards I would rather her be an advanced 7th grader than an average 9th grader, those kinds of things. Didn't really want her to skip over the whole middle school setup and go straight to high school. There were a lot of things that went into it. Going back, I would have considered her coming back as an 8th grader. I don't know. She's doing really well where she's at. I feel like we probably made the right decision. As a parent, you're always second guessing these kinds of things, but she's doing really well. She's doing some advanced classes, accelerated classes. And so, I don't feel like she's bored, but she's doing very well in those classes and making very good grades. She's had a couple of moments where, we've had to learn that middle school kids can be mean, and that breaks my mama heart, but she's handled those things well. I feel like she's kind of figured out where she fits in, if that's the way we want to put it, and kind of the other kids that think the same way she does and kind of have the same motivations, I guess. And I feel like she's kind of found her groove, she's the kind of kid who's going to be friends with everyone, and I love that, and I'm so proud of her for that. But I kind of feel like she's figured out, where she kind of fits in the best if that, like I said, if that's how we want to put it. And she's doing really well, and she enjoys it. And I'm just so proud of how well she has handled that adjustment going back to school. She's also my kid who, like, I never have to wake her up in the mornings. By the time my alarm clock goes off and I get up and go check, she's already up, ready. She likes having somewhere to go, something to do, and it's just working really well for her. I'm not saying I wouldn't ever like don't you want to come back home, because I would love to have her at home, but like I always say, we're going to pray about and seek out what's best for her, what's best for our family in that moment. You know, if that changes, it changes. If it stays the same, it stays the same. We'll just have to see what God has in store. Now, as far as homeschooling and how that's going for the boys, it's going great. I had some questions about, are we still using Bob Jones? Are we still liking it? I have a video where I did a whole unboxing of the curriculum that we got for this year. This is the first time I've ever tried to do both boys on the same curriculum across all subjects, trying to see, you know, how that worked for us. And it was working, especially for Huddy, for my second grader. If we're going to put a grade title on him, yeah, that's one of those things. Homeschooling, you don't have to do that. You know, you're just learning. But he is my second grade age child. For him, it's going great. I feel like he has really, really done well with BJU's phonics. Every year I kind of have a goal that I really want to see the kids accomplish. And it's not the only thing I want to see them accomplish. And they have things for themselves that they want to accomplish. But I have one thing that I kind of set in my mind that I really want to see this and see this accomplished this year. I want to see them excel in this or improve in this or grasp this concept. And for Huddy, it was his reading. Last year, math is his subject, and he just gets it and runs with it. Reading, I don't know if it was because he didn't enjoy it. I don't know if it was because he was struggling a little bit. I don't know if he was struggling to kind of wrap his mind around it. I don't know. But that was one of the things that he really struggled with a little bit. And this year, he has, you know, I was like, I want to see him be more confident in his reading. And he is really, really doing great. He is so much more confident in sitting down and reading a book. Not just, you know, figuring out one word at a time, but actually sitting down with a book without being overwhelmed. For Easton, it was his cursive. I wanted to see him get better at his cursive this year. It's something that he's always been like, I can't do it. I'm not good at it. And he is getting much better at that. For Audrey, it was wanting to see her thrive, you know, and really kind of figure out this public school thing and that adjustment of going from homeschooling back to public school. And she's doing good with that. As far as BJU for Easton, so for Huddy, with me teaching him, with Easton, and I mentioned this in that unboxing video, with him, we tried their online learning, where it was a video lesson. You didn't have to be online at a certain time, but it was a video lesson, and you would get on and watch it and then do your work. With him doing that across all those subjects, it was taking 4 or 5 hours a day just for his book work. Even in school, they're there for 8 hours, but they're going to lunch and snack and PE and music and library and all these things. I don't know. We've never done that. We've had 2 hours of paperwork, and that was our school, paperwork school day. And it was taking him a lot longer, and I knew we were going to have to figure something else out. With me sitting down and teaching Huddy, I was able to adjust and move through things faster and, slow down when we needed to, but kind of skip over this or do this and not do this. It was easier for me with him. And our day does take about 2 hours. But with Easton, it was taking much longer. And so we started dwindling down on some of the subjects. And then I started noticing things I could get on and check his grades and see what he missed. But I felt like there was a disconnect there. I really missed sitting down and teaching him and working with him. And I felt like when he was struggling with something, he was just skimming over it and going on instead of slowing down and learning it. And I just felt like we really needed to adjust some things. So I started researching some other curriculums and some other things and decided for math and English to switch him to ACE PACE, like their PACEs from ACE curriculum, Accelerated Christian Education. And what it is it's a little book, and it's kind of broken up into like 3-week. Each book is about 3 weeks worth of work. And he loves being able to finish one book and then move on to the next one. It's also back to that approach where I sit down and I talk to him about what he's doing that day. He does his work, then I check it. If we need to review things, we do. And I feel like that connection has been made again. And he's not, skimming over things. And it doesn't take him near as long. We kind of set BJU aside for him and focused on English and math with ACE. And now that he's really grasped that, and like as far as cursive, we're talking about his cursive, I just started working with him on his letters, working with him on connecting his letters, words that had, a certain letter in them, and really kind of got his confidence in his cursive there, because I felt like BJU, their handwriting was a little advanced for him. But now I feel like he could probably go back and start that again. So he may go back and add back in BJU's spelling and handwriting, because I do love their curriculum, and I love that it's pretty rigorous, and that I feel like they learn a lot with it. It just wasn't working with Easton. The amount of time he was having to spend on it, the online videos for all the subjects, it was just too much. We had to readjust. So that's what we've done for him. And like I said, we're still doing all Bob Jones, all BJU for Huddy, and it's working really well. So overall, I feel like things are going good. Our school year is going good. I can't believe we're already almost halfway through it. Wow. Oh my goodness. Time slow down. If you've got any other questions, feel free to ask down in the comments, whether it's about our homeschool background, our story, what curriculum we use, whatever it may be, feel free to ask, and I'll try to address some more questions that you might have. But I'm going to go ahead and close this one out. I'm vlogging today, and it's time for me to go over here and vote. So I'm going to pick the camera back up and take you along through my day with me. It'll actually probably be the video you see tomorrow. But it's time to go do that. We love you. We appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.